a look at another one together and see what you think about this. This one that is the following. It's about mixture. This is called mixture problem. Let me try to give you a little context to it. Suppose that you wanted to make some fine jewelry, custom made for your very significant other, and well, you'd like it to be, silver. But of course, your excuse that you're going to give is that, well, silver is a very malleable kind of metal. So if you actually gave your special person one of these things, it might bend and break and stuff. And so you're going to mix in some alloy to actually, some stronger metal to actually make the thing more rigid. Of course, that's the excuse you give. The truth is, we know that you're just really cheap, and so you don't want to actually spend a lot of money on silver. You want to put in a lot of junk, and that way. But so the question is, though, how much silver to junk should you put in if you want a certain thing? So let's suppose that for making some fine thing like this, like a little doggy chain, you need a certain ratio. Let's take a look at the question and see what we do. So this question, we want to know how many grams, things are measured in grams, how many grams of pure silver, that's the expensive stuff, a silversmith mixes together with 45% silver alloy to produce 200 grams, they need 200 grams to make this thing, produce 200 grams of 50% alloy. So what that's saying is the following. You've got some pure silver, and then you've got some sort of diluted silver, and you have 45% diluted silver. Well, of course, if you mix them together, since this is pure silver here, it's only 45%, as you mix them together, in some sense, the percentage of silver will be higher than 45, but it won't be pure anymore because it'll be contaminated. It'll be pure as well. The question is, we want to get 200 grams that actually is 50% silver and 50% junk. Okay, so let's take a look at this and think about it now together. So here we have a whole bunch of really expensive silver stuff. This is the stuff you don't want to spend money on. And then we have all the junky stuff here. Here's the junky stuff and the silver stuff. So the question is, I want to take some of this silver stuff, right, and sort of melt it down, and then mix it up with the junky stuff, you see, in some way. And then when I put it all together, I have this sort of, mishmash of 50% alloy. So that's what I want to do. How do I mix it? Okay, so let's see if we can make some progress on this. So the question is, well, okay, how much silver do we need? So let me call the amount of silver I'm going to need S. So this is an unknown that I'm introducing. It's there, but it's not written mathematically. So S is the amount of silver. Okay, if S is the amount of silver, can we actually figure out how much of the alloy stuff we're going to add? Well, the answer is yes, and actually the answer is hidden in the question. If you look at it again, we'll see that at the end of the day, well, we're going to want a 50% alloy. That's not the important thing. But notice that we're going to want 200 grams. So I'm going to be adding some pure silver, and I'm going to be adding some of this diluted stuff, but at the end of the day, the total amount is going to be 200 grams. So that 200 grams, where does that come from? There'll be some silver. In fact, how much silver? Well, we already said there'll be S silver. And so the rest is going to be that fake stuff. So if there's 200 total, and this is S, what must this amount be? Well, it must be 200 minus the S. So in fact, the amount of the cheapo stuff, so the junk, is going to be 200 minus S. That equals the junk stuff. Right? Because if you add those two amounts together, we get the 200 total. Okay, so notice that I'm using the total number of weight to figure out how much junk I have compared to how much silver. All right, now what I've got to do, though, is that I can't solve that for silver yet because I don't have a relationship with those things together yet. But what do I know? I know that when I'm all done with that big blob of 200 stuff, how much of it should be pure silver? How much of that 200 grams should be pure silver? Look at the question again. It says that this thing should be 50% alloy, which means also 50% good stuff. So if the thing is 200 grams in total, how much pure silver is there? 100, right? Half of it. There's 200 total, 50% of it is junk. That means that 50% of it is the good stuff. So we know there's 100 grams of pure silver. So we know, and look how I'm using all that information together. See, this is a little tricky. You've got to think about it. We know there's 100 grams at the end of the day of good stuff. grams of pure silver in our final mixture. How much of that came from silver? Well, silver contributed all of S. This is pure silver. You add that in, that's just pure silver. And that contributes all of this stuff. But in fact, we have 200 minus S in junk. But not all of that is pure silver, right? That's the whole point. In fact, only a fraction of it is pure silver. Only 45% of it is silver. So that means that how much does it contribute to this 100 grams of final mixture of pure silver? Well, 45% of it. And what's 45% of something? It's just 0.45 times. Let me recap what I just did here. I know I have 200 pure. But out of that 200, only 50% or 100 of it is pure silver. And now I want to see how that pure silver got there. Well, it got there because I added in S amount, S grams of this pure silver. And then out of all this junk, it actually contributed 45% of junk. So pure silver, and this is pure silver from pure silver. This is the pure silver from the junk. And that total equals 100. Phew. Okay, the hard part is behind us. Now we're going to solve them. You can see that actually the actual math stuff is not that hard. The real hard stuff is the words here. Now think of it. In my view, that's really the math. It's one of the words here. This is the math. The rest of it now is just this way. So again, think about how I did it. I knew how much I had total. That gave me the ability to say how much silver I have compared to how much junk I have. And then knowing how much the actual amount of pure silver there was to be financed, I can figure out the contribution to those things and not solve them. So let's do that. S plus, I'm going to distribute the 0.45. If I distribute the 0.45 throughout here, I'm going to see what this is actually going to be. How can I write this? Well, I can write this as 45 over 100. That's 45 times 200 minus 0.45 S. I'm distributing again, but maybe less mistakes this time. Everybody is getting okay, well, let's see. I have S, and I subtract off 0.45 S, so I can do this with 0.55 S. And then here I can get a cancellation here. Those zeros can cancel out. And I'm going to select the 45 times 2. 45 times 2 is 90. And I have 100 on this side. If I bring the 90 over, I'm subtracting 90. It's 10. It's equal to 10. And so what do I see? I can just divide both sides by 0.55s. And I would see that S equals 10 over 0.55. Work that out. Let's divide that. We'll see 18. And let's see 11s. So the question is, how much silver should we add into this thing to make this 2-hole dog collar? Well, it turns out that the answer is 18 and 2 11 grams of pure silver. And therefore, the rest has to be junk. So I put it all together, I get exactly 50%. By the way, does this answer seem reasonable? Well, it sort of does in the following way. This is not going to be a mathematical argument. Think of it this way. Look, we have this 45% junk stuff at the beginning, right? And we only want to move it up to 50%. So if we just did the 45 stuff and we use no pure silver, we're pretty close to the final answer we want, right? Which is 45%, pure stuff, and I want 50%. So I just have to add a little teeny bit to top off that 45% to make it up to 50%. So we shouldn't be adding an awful lot. Because we have so much junky stuff so close to the right answer. It's good to think about and see if you can reason through and make sure the answer is sensible. For example, if we got an answer, let's say we got an answer of 300 grams, that would be a very, very bad answer. See why? Because the total is supposed to be 200. How can I, put in 300 pure silver? It just doesn't make sense. So always think about the answer at least makes sense. This makes sense, and hopefully it's also correct. So you can make your cheapo dog collar, give it to your special friend, that person can wear it, wherever they wear these things, and like